Today I'm going to help you build a very simple API. It's going to have an endpoint for registering new users, and it's going to have an endpoint for getting all the users you have registered. Let's hop in. So open Visual Studio and go to create new project. You want to search for ASP.NET Core Web API. Do not select Razor Pages, just the normal one that I'm showing you. Click on next and give it a name. Let's just go with testing 1. You can name it anything you want. Click on next, keep these as they are, and create. Now we want to delete the weather forecast.cs, and we want to open the controllers folder and delete weather forecast controller.cs. And now we start building. The first thing we want to do is right click on your project, manage new get packages, and we want to download something called inmemory. You go to browse, of course, do not go to install because you won't find it. So in browse, in memory, and you select the Microsoft Entity Framework Core in memory. Install it, click I accept, and that's done. Now, the next step we want to do is create a folder called models. So right click on your project, go now down to add, new folder, call it models. In models is where you put what you are going to store. So in this case, we're storing users. For that reason, you right click on models, you click add, and then you go to class and give it a name user, because we are storing users. Each user is going to have a public int, is going to have an ID, a public string, a name, and a password. Like this. So each user is going to have basically a name and a password, and for getting stored in the database you need the ID. Okay, this is what my user will have. My next step, right click on testing 1 or your project, add folder, you name it data, and then in the data folder right click, add class. Now we're going to add a class called appdbcontext.cs. What this will do, this is where my database is. Okay, so first of all, it's gonna inherit from something called db context. db stands for database. So we do this db context like this, and you press tab. If not, you just write using Microsoft Entity Framework Core, and now you have this. What this done is just make it very easy for you to interact with your database. Alright, then my next step is right click on the appdb context, quick actions, and then go down to generate constructor with options. I click on it, I get this. And now, and be very careful with this, now under this, so under this, I'm gonna create a public db set. So now I'm gonna create the table where my users are stored. I want a table named users because that's where my users will be going, right? And in here, I want to specify the data type. What will my user have? What data type? Well, it's the user data type because each user is gonna have a name and a password. So in here, I put user, and then show potential fixes or quick actions using testing 1 models. So this will register a new table in my database. That's done. Next step is creating the controller. So you go to controllers folder, right click, add controller. You select the API one, empty, add, you give it a name. Let's give it just app controller for simplicity, and add. Now in here, there are some things that we need to do. First of all, my controller doesn't know I have a database. So how do I make it know? Throughout writing this private, read only, and then you write the database that you gave. In my case, it's appdb context. So appdb context. And you give it the name underscore context like this. And then you want to right click on this, quick actions and refactoring, and then we want to go to generate constructor. After this, in here, in between the parentheses, we want to take this, we want to paste it in here, get rid of the underscore, and in here, the last thing we want to do is write underscore context being equal to context. So this equal to this. You don't need to understand how this works. This is just how you make your kind of controller understand that you have a context, a database. So yeah, that is done. A very quick thing, you just want to add this right here. In your program.cs, you go here, and then under builder, do not go to variable app, just under builder here, you want to write builder.services.addDBContext. You can pause the video and just write the following. What this does is it initializes your in-memory database. We downloaded a package called inmemory, and this is how your kind of very simple database is set up. So just add this, in other words. Next thing, in the app controller, now we want to write our endpoints. So first of all, we want an HTTP post. What will this do? It's gonna add users to my database. So this is how you generally write an endpoint. You give it public, and then async task action results, and then you give it a name, add users maybe. Boom, boom. This is just how you write it. Okay, so public async task. It will change from now and then depending on what method you want, but in this case, we're just going with a very simple public async task. You just can understand that and you're good. And then we want to pass in user, just like in here, user, and give it the name user. Now, what do we want to do here? We want to create a new user and send it to the database. So first we create a new user, variable, new user equals new of the data type user. And then we want to give a name being equal to user.name, comma, password being equal to user.password, and semicolon here. So here is how we create a new user. We're gonna pass a user in here, and then we create a new user with the data passed to us. My next step is gonna be accessing my context, so underscore context dot users dot add new user. So we're just adding a new user to my users table in here that I created, sorry, in here. And then we wanna await underscore context save changes. So we're just gonna save the changes and then return OK. Like this. This is all we need to do to add a user to our database. And then to get users to see that this is actually working and stuff, so http get. And then the same thing we did here, we post down here, get users. Again, you can name this whatever you want. I'll just get it to get. And lastly, I want to just get everything I have from my users. I believe I have it in here because I forgot how to do it. So here, variable, the users, you await, you get all the users to list async, Microsoft Entity Framework, like this. This is how you get users. It's very simple. You create a variable called users, and this method right here, to list async, will give you all the users in a list. And now you get return OK users. You get back your users. This is all you need to do. Now to test this, we wanna click on this, start without debugging. We wait on it. And then it's gonna open Swagger for me. Here is my post and here's my get. So to post something, try it. Let's go with admin being password admin, the following. Execute, it's gonna give me code 200, which means okay. And then get all the users, try it out, execute, it's gonna give me back ID1, name admin, password admin. This is a very simple demonstration of how this works. And yeah, there are different methods and different endpoints that you can do and stuff, but I didn't want to make this video long, so I'm gonna end it here, and hope this video helps you in any way.